Did you know that Alex wasn't always called Alex? What was his childhood like? How did he become the king of the Central Park Zoo in New York? I'll tell you all about this and much more now, in the full story of one of Dreamworks' most beloved characters. Let's go! I'm really excited to talk about Alex because he's an incredible character, the protagonist of the Madagascar movies, and everyone loves this guy, right? Alex was always a playful and fun-loving kid. He was born in Africa and lived with his mother Flori and his father Zuba, the king of the jungle. Zuba always wanted to teach Alex how to fight because one day he would be the king of the jungle, but Alex was still a kid and wasn't thinking about that yet. And there's something really important here. Alex wasn't named Alex. His real name was Ailki. Sounds crazy, but no. I'll explain later how he got the name Alex. Well, in one of these lessons with his dad, Ailki got distracted by a rope and wandered out of the jungle reserve. He ended up running into some animal traffickers who captured him and put him in a crate. His father quickly saw what had happened and chased after the car, but was injured in the process. Shortly after, the traffickers' car skidded, and by accident, the crate with little Ailki fell into the water. This part of Alex's story is quite sad. After falling into the water, he was carried by the waves all the way to New York. Yes, Alex traveled in that crate from Africa to New York across the sea. It was a journey, but he made it, and soon he was placed in the Central Park Zoo. Since he loved to dance and have fun, he found a way to feel good and do what he loved. The zoo's audience fell in love with him at first sight. In the zoo with him were 3 other animals, Melman, Gloria, and Marty, who would later become his best friends. It was at the zoo that he got the name Alex, and that's the name he still uses today. His best friend Marty escaped from the zoo, and that's when everything started to change for Alex. He, along with Melman and Gloria, set off to find Marty. Imagine being on the subway, minding your own business, and out of nowhere, a lion, a giraffe, a zebra, and a hippo show up. The police soon arrived and calmed everyone down. Alex even got beaten up by an old lady. After that, the animal rights activists didn't want the animals to stay locked up in the zoo. They wanted them to be free and released into the wild. And there goes Tranquilizer and Alex again. Well, they did what the activists said and sent Alex to a wildlife reserve in Kenya, Africa. When he realized he was in a crate, he panicked, just a little dramatic, right? He knew something was wrong because Alex always loved living in the zoo. He would have stayed there forever. Since it was Marty's fault he was there, the two started arguing. Well, thanks to the penguins who took control of the ship, Alex's crate fell into the sea, and he ended up in Madagascar. Alex didn't know anything about the world outside the zoo, and just kept messing up. His goal was to find the police officers somehow, so they could get back to New York. If you like Alex, write #AlexIsAwesome. Alex still hadn't realized where he was. When he saw that he wasn't going to have the same luxuries as in the zoo, and would have to fend for himself to survive, he panicked even more. Time went by, and he and his friends were still on the island. Since Alex always had food on his plate and never needed to hunt, Madagascar was different. A hungry lion is no joke. Alex started having hallucinations of steaks, and everywhere he looked, he saw his favorite steak. Our Alex was so domesticated that he didn't even know how to walk on all fours. Marty had to teach him that. Well, after that, Alex distanced himself from his friends because he started becoming too wild and even attacked Marty. As time passed, Alex returned to normal, saved everyone from the dangers of the jungle, and said he wanted to travel to other places before returning to New York. He liked going on adventures. After some adventures and flying in a broken-down plane piloted by the penguins, Alex and the gang crash-landed in Africa. More specifically, at Alex's home, where he had been lost as a baby. When Alex arrived and realized he had a mom and dad, he was overwhelmed with joy. It was a super emotional scene. Talking with his dad, Alex said he was the king of New York, but he hadn't mentioned it was a zoo. His dad thought he was also the king of the jungle. Alex's parents were overjoyed to reunite with him and took him to see his home, the place where he used to sleep, and even his old belongings. It was a touching moment for them. But then, his annoying Uncle Makunga started pressuring Alex to take part in a rite of passage and face off against a lion he barely knew. knew. Poor Alex, he was so embarrassed. Soon after, Alex went to vent to Marty, but they ended up arguing because Alex didn't realize the Marty next to him wasn't the real Marty. The arguments didn't stop there. Alex and his father then had a disagreement because his dad said being a real lion was about fighting, not dancing. More challenges came Alex's way. After fighting with his dad, Alex discovered that the river had dried up, leaving everyone without water. Determined to prove to his dad that he was a real lion, Alex wanted to bring the water back. To do so, he asked Marty for help. It's worth mentioning that during all this, Alex ran into that old lady again, and they ended up fighting. Poor Alex got captured by the people and the lady and was tied up over a fire. But that wasn't the end for Alex. Just as he was being roasted and things seemed hopeless, his dad arrived to save him. Alex began dancing in front of all the people from New York. Everyone recognized that the dancing lion was Alex from the Central Park Zoo. And the best part? His dad, Zuba, started dancing with him. That scene was just awesome. Together, they also managed to bring the water back. What a story, so beautiful. A few days later, Alex decided to return to New York, but first, he needed to find the penguins, who were busy gambling in the casino. Those penguins are crazy. Well, when Alex walked into the casino, everyone freaked out at the sight of a lion inside. Then came the most annoying part of Alex's life. A woman named Captain Dubois found out about the lion in the casino and wanted to catch him at all costs. Another problem for Alex, now he had to run from the captain. And to try to save himself and his friends, he finds a train with circus animals and begs them to let them in so they can hide. The circus crew wasn't too keen on accepting them, so Alex had to lie and say that he was also a circus animal. This Alex always gets himself into trouble. If you like Alex, write in the comments #Alex is awesome. The train was headed to Rome, then to London, and if the show was approved, they would go to New York. Alex's eyes lit up, and that's when he started making up even more things to get to New York. He said that he and his friends were circus animals and that they performed incredible acts, one in particular called the American Trapeze. To complicate things even more, Alex fell in love with Gia. Before continuing with the circus escape, Alex is a very strong lion, even if he doesn't always seem like it. But he is. The guy managed to lift Melman, Gloria, and Marty all at once. He scared away several fosses that wanted to eat everything in sight. And he's a great friend, always nagging those he cares about, but it's always for their own good. Alex is very loyal to his friends, and even though he panics sometimes, he's always optimistic. And of course, a fantastic dancer. Back to the circus. Even though Alex had never performed a circus act before, he actually did well, teaching everyone and encouraging them. But just when everything seemed to be going right, Dubois arrives and ruins Alex's plan, and that's when he admits that he wasn't really a circus animal. This Alex always gets into trouble. Finally, Alex and his friends made it back to the zoo after so much time, but they weren't very happy to see it. Everything Alex experienced outside was way better than all the time he spent locked up. So, he decides to return to the circus crew, and what happens? He gets hit with a tranquilizer dart again. Dubois had wanted Alex's head from the start, but luckily for him, just when she was about to succeed, there was a bit of a misunderstanding, and the zoo staff arrived just in time to stop it. But they thought she had brought Alex back to the zoo. And once again, the most famous lion in New York was locked up. And once more, just when it seemed like everything was lost and Alex was about to get shot again, he was saved by Gia, and together they performed an incredible circus act. Everything Alex had made up before happened, even the balloons for the kids, and everything ended super well. What a story! Alex is amazing. Look at everything he went through. But what about Alex and Gia? Did they end up together? Will Alex's parents appear again? All of this could be shown in Madagascar 4. And yes, Dreamworks has already confirmed that it's happening. I made a theory video about what could happen in the 4th movie. Curious? Click on this card. Now, if you want to know what I thought about the terrible Megamind 2, click here. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and see you in the next video here on Cine Lovers.